Chosen one, this moment is not a coincidence. Your soul was drawn to this video because the heavens whispered the same message to you 7 times. The number 1111 didn't appear before your eyes for nothing, and the prayers of 33 prophets did not fall upon you by chance. You are one of the 144,000 chosen, and your presence here is a divine sign. This message was sent to awaken the secret that has been resting within your heart. What you are about to hear are not just words, but divine vibrations that will sink deep into your soul. If these words are touching you, leave your heart in the comments so the heavens can witness your testimony. Because when you write, another soul will awaken. Now prepare yourself, for this video will illuminate your path. Those who recognize the signs of God know that nothing is random. That's why your being here is already a miracle. Chosen Archangel is not just a channel, it is a calling. Subscribe now, press like, and write a comment so together we can reach our 1,000 soul family. Everything people believed they knew about you is being realigned by an inexplicable force that is sweeping across your existence. Even though they believed you would give in under duress, a deeper issue was developing. An internal resistance to continuing to follow the rules that have been established by others. A latent strength is now emerging like a silent storm that no one anticipated as the veil begins to lift. This had nothing to do with defiance, insurrection, or loudness. Tuning into a frequency reserved for those being forged in quiet was the goal. Every silent decision you took, every instance in which you refrained from retaliating, was a component of a larger plan. The universe was preparing you for a world where perseverance triumphs over opposition, even while others saw your silence for surrender. The current situation is not coincidental. Behind the scenes, there is a careful planning, a series of choices, losses, and events that have come together to create a sacred geometry. Every breakup, treachery, and difficult decision that caused you to doubt yourself wasn't punishment. It was a spiritual pattern of refinement that showed you the version of yourself that had been hiding behind the layers of identity you had to lose. It was never your intention to blend in. You were programmed to advance and move in a different way. What appeared to be strange intuitions or uncomfortable realities were actually the first signs of a more profound intellect awakening within you. Your rejections weren't proof that you weren't good enough. For those who couldn't read what wasn't intended for them, they were blind spots. You've been taking in everything, the clues, the quiet, the small changes. And now a distinct directive is being formed by that collection of internal impulses. The outdated programming that advised you to soften, shrink, and smooth yourself out in order to gain acceptance is disintegrating. An operating system change is occurring. One that exists without requesting permission. The desire to please everyone has been replaced by a quietly commanding attitude. A deep awareness that not everyone should have entry to your field. Drawing lines in the sand isn't the point here. It's a total readjusting of the way your spirit communicates with the outside world. This is the point at which things start to take an odd turn. The people who previously embezzled your kindness on false pretenses are going to face repercussions that happen independently of you. None of it vanished into nothing, not even when you pushed yourself to the limit or when your spirit whispered enough and you continued to pour. Justice has a multi-layered, concealed design that is presently realigning with astonishing accuracy. In ways you no longer have to control consciously, the space you occupy has changed into a sort of gravitational pull that draws in truth and pushes away distortion. Some people, enmeshed in the lucidity of your progress, are orbiting closer without understanding why. Others who used to feel at ease with your tenderness are now retreating from you as they feel the heat of their own reflection. It isn't intimate. It's a filter built into the structure of your metamorphosis. Only those who are in sync will stay linked as the resonance shifts. Previously, they could have mistaken your openness for naivete or your silence for passivity, but now they are encountering invisible but unmistakable barriers. It has evolved into multi-layered discernment from subtle awareness. Actions are no longer being decoded. The root is being read by you. Furthermore, nothing untrue lives undetected at this depth. Under the surface of your progress, something unique is taking place. An inner sense that now whispers from places not yet experienced rather than just reacting to the here and now. Your inner direction is no longer merely innate. It bears the burden of decisions that are still pending, collective changes, and invisible timescales. This isn't simply gut feeling anymore. It's turning into a bridge to the future. You're entering the static and hearing clarity within the cacophony rather than squirming away from it. You were pushed into retreat by confusion. It brings out your depth now. You are becoming a point of coherence in a world that is falling apart, not by imposing peace, but by refusing to compromise on the truth. The same times that once caused connections to break are now opportunities for deeper harmony. Merely because you are no longer hiding your true frequency. Something else starts to take root as this clarity becomes more apparent. People who are able to breathe in your rawness without choking are drawn to your presence. You're no longer forming yourself to be assimilated, not because you're attempting to be understood. And a deeper code is turning on inside of you in the silent nooks and crannies of the change. One that extends into the ancestral current that never ceases speaking and beyond the boundaries of recollection. A more profound presence has started to permeate your existence. One that reverberates from locations beyond the grasp of time. Creatures that are a part of your blood. People who used to follow a more constrained route are now reaching through invisible hallways to help, not simply observe. These are not imaginary luxuries or transient feelings. They are intentional messages delivered by people who are now aware of the burden you are bearing. Your everyday routine is changing in ways that don't make sense. Things show up when clarity is required. Subtle alignments that appear planned rather than random cause timelines to collapse in on themselves. Some words hit your chest as if they were written only for you. Those who can now see what you're about to access are choreographing these indications so you don't miss your cues. The alteration of memory itself is much more astounding. People from your past who used to cause you anguish are now providing invisible protection. They're not pleading for pardon. To safeguard what they were unable to care for while they were living, they are laboring behind the curtain. You learned resilience from their absence. You learned how to self-resource from their distance. They now give their power to yours, using your recovery to rewrite their history. It's uncovering what seemed like hereditary damage. The reverberations of silence, control, and neglect. They're all losing their grip. Additionally, a new template that is carved from consciousness rather than revolt is beginning to emerge in its place. Every time you choose clarity over comfort, every time you refuse to shrink, every time you honor yourself. These are the signals that unlock long-forgotten codes and illuminate the way for future generations. Evolution is not happening by chance. From within, you are creating new architecture. The tale being rewritten becomes more than simply personal when intention takes root more quickly than action, thinking becomes shape, and alignment becomes manifestation. It is irreversible, structural, and ancestral. An irreversible event is taking place. You are no longer waiting for answers from life. You've entered the current itself, influencing results with a frequency that doesn't require consent. In reality, what seemed like a delay was design. Every pause and detour was an improvement that put you in line with routes that would have stayed obscured if you had gone any faster. It wasn't loss each time you were ignored, passed over, or excluded. It served as insulation. You were avoiding systems that would have clouded your judgment, limited your ability to be creative, or caused you to doubt your own cadence. In reality, the disturbance you once saw as misalignment was your system readjusting to have greater power than it had previously. It was never dysfunctional disorientation. Real-time growth was taking place. Hesitancy is no longer a warning indication. This is an invitation. The want to run before you leap, the tremor in your voice, and the flutter in your chest. These are signals, not defects. They are proof that realities that go beyond your comfort zone are causing your body to plummet. Since you've discovered that expansion thrives in the unknown, every spike in anxiety is now interpreted as a sign rather than a warning. And something incredible is happening beneath the surface of your impact as this knowledge grows. Your energy is moving people and rooms without altering what you've said or attempting to persuade anyone. You're leaving your mark on unwritten timelines, whether you're creating, leading, or just being totally present. Your own being is turning like a tuning fork that resonates with other people. You cannot reverse the ripple you have created. Your signature is now what disqualified you. Your presence is recalibrating those who rejected you. Now, every aspect of you that previously made you feel out of place identifies you as a key holder. You've started a chain reaction that won't stop. It's structural. It will also never be the same system. Something is changing in the way that people view your worth. Your silent alignment has started to speak for itself, not because you've yelled more or pursued more vehemently. Don't just watch, engage. Subscribe to Chosen Archangel, press like, and leave your amen in the comments. Together, we rise to 1,000. Your efforts now follow a different cadence. And an easy flow has replaced what used to feel like uphill work. Instead of being sought after, opportunities are drawn to you. Instead of seeming like something you have to shape yourself into, the work that comes and feels more like a natural extension of who you already are. The dynamics of relationships are changing in real time. Now, influence is not something you possess. Something radiates from it. It is motivated by the resonance of presence rather than by ego or rivalry. People are gravitating toward you because of who you have become, not because of what you are doing. No fights to prove themselves. You don't have to outshine. Gravity is simply an indisputable clarity. However, the current situation goes much beyond adoration. Other stagnating places are reflected in your transformation. Some are sufficiently motivated to change. Others are crumbling under the weight of what your development makes them face. You are being reflected by your evolution. Furthermore, not everyone is prepared to face reality. They are undoing what they put onto you. Furthermore, they are unsure about its current location. A confluence is taking place. A precise time that seems planned. A complete systemic breakdown of the antiquated persona you formerly adopted in order to get by. Your evolving self is incompatible with the old codes. A more complex world that is based on internal coherence rather than borrowed logic is emerging from within. Everything you touch will be recalibrated by what's coming online right now. Additionally, there is no way to go back to the earlier version. It's everything being rewritten. Not only the items you decided to let go of, but the whole structure that underlies your life's experiences. The situation is not a straightforward change. It is a fundamental reorganization of reality. You can no longer stand on the same base. And it's intentional. A new system is taking shape. One that values resonance over looks, depth over performance, and unadulterated alignment above comfortable familiarity. And a version of yourself that doesn't have to attempt is emerging from this new architecture. It just is. The people who once called you unrealistic, extravagant, or odd are going to see something they can't explain. Your sincerity, refusal to fit in, and preference for isolation over compromise have all been sending messages that have arrived at their destination. The prize for obedience is not what is coming now. It is the signal that returns from a frequency that you began sending out long before you were certain it would reverberate. The most amazing realization is about to happen. Nothing you went through was arbitrary. The times of peaceful invisibility, the closed doors, and the condemnation weren't detours. Your current course was activated by exact catalysts that were coded. Every experience that broke you open was creating the conditions for something much bigger to establish itself. Now that you have transcended the delusion, the message is becoming your very being. Signal fire, an outward manifestation of your inner clarity, is emerging from what others have written off as eccentricity or self-obsession. You never made an effort to stand out. They just finished editing you. You've also turned into a magnet for things that were always meant for you but that you were unable to land because you were acting smaller than your actual self. A gate now opens. Not to make a sale, but to extend an invitation. There is a location where people who quit performing and started transmitting are sharing their genuine, unadulterated insights. It's the kind of information that remembers without trying to persuade. The kind that serves as a reminder that the revolution you are living is prophetic rather than personal. The codes that formerly bound awareness are starting to break down. And in their stead, an emancipation blueprint is emerging, accessible only to those who are determined to live up to it. This is not an attention-seeking broadcast. Only specific frequencies are able to pick up on this call. Those who have braved fire without requesting rescue will understand that this message is intended for them. You've turned into a calibration point without speaking up or providing any explanation. When you're in a room, you sense something different. People are aware of the discrepancy between their false self and the reality they want to hide. And it comes to the surface just by virtue of your presence. Here's the big shock, though. Those who earlier used narrative manipulation to maintain control are discovering that the script has been removed. The takers had run out of fuel. There is no signal left for the observers. Your power-draining systems are now clicking silently. They can no longer find their hold on you, but they have no idea where it went. Their tactics failed because you stopped feeding them the illusion they needed to survive, not because you retaliated. You're not reacting to distortions anymore. Above them, you're vibrating. Additionally, projections vanish upon contact. There is no emotional door left open when guilt comes. Through your reluctance to shrink for the old reality, you have made it obsolete rather than avoiding it. Now, your attention can only be maintained by the truth, and your energy cannot be sustained by anything false. The changes are slight yet profound. You no longer have to turn down the volume of your truth in order to feel comfortable with other people. Something more profound has taken hold where you may have previously distorted your own image to fit into borrowed mirrors. The understanding that there is no negotiating your worth. It is not ego that brings this understanding. It comes from a deep understanding that cannot be contracted out. It's graceful to stop asking for permission to exist. That stillness you've developed within yourself is developing into something remarkable. Complete responsibility for your presence. Your creative flow is then turning electric, forming shape out of energy in ways that are illogical. Your once mute urges are now gaining velocity and coming to life. The melody is emerging from what used to be background noise. That expression is more than just output, whether it manifests in words, movement, design, or solutions. Devotion is what it is. It's communion with a source that is embodied and never needs to be explained. And the accuracy of life's choreography becomes disconcerting as you move in unison with that signal. Before you even ask, what you need is shown. Resonance, not effort, brings about alignments. It's not luck. The reason is synchronization. Impact is no longer your goal. You are being followed by it. Your evolution's reverberations are now touching realities you were unaware you were affecting. Those who previously disregarded your wisdom are now repeating your thoughts without understanding why. Those who once upheld the patterns you broke are now questioning them. You're not instructing. You're sending. You're changing what people can perceive in themselves without attempting to change them. Your decisions are igniting others' latent pathways. By vibration, not by persuade. The field has changed, and people in it are starting to change as well. You've made the decision to live a quiet yet radical life. It involves rewiring what other people think they can achieve. You are live evidence that self-loyalty is initiation rather than isolation because of the way you navigate solitude and the way you followed your gut when it told you to turn away from the throng. You've become an example that speaks louder than words without preaching or persuading. Now, you're getting notoriety from directions you never followed. You embraced your worth without requiring validation, not because you yelled it into every room. You're being offered more than simply positions or duties. It's resonance. Invitations that complement your style, rhythm, and voice. You're expressing, not performing. And there is no denying the impact. Your evolution is being caught up to by your surroundings. Once stagnant corners are becoming more fluid. The noises, textures, and colors are all starting to represent your inner clarity. Anything that used to bring back painful memories is either fading away or being transformed into something holy. The internal shift is unreversible, and the external world is bending to accommodate it. This feeling of comfort is not a luxury. The architecture is revered. And you're discovering that depletion no longer equates to surrendering in that architecture. You grow more restored the more alignment you give. Now, support is reciprocal. No more debt from energy. You now receive back what once cost you everything. This is what occurs when your presence becomes the permission itself, rather than a request for permission. The rarest type of alignment is taking place right now. The kind that develops calm instead of seeking it. The change is in what you radiate as well as how you behave. A well-tuned field of inner command has taken the place of the emotional residue that previously influenced your choices. You no longer adopt roles merely to be required. Rather, you decide how to arrive with purpose, clarity, and accuracy. Your signal remains constant during emotional upheavals. Something inside of you doesn't change, even when disaster strikes unexpectedly or when tension walks in familiar faces. Romans 10 verse 17 says, "Faith comes by hearing." Help more people hear. Subscribe, like, and comment to get us to 1,000 subscribers. This unwavering silence is starting to create a subdued power that draws attention without making any noise. You've turned into the calming influence that others were looking for but were unaware of. It's not because you're attempting to make someone better. The reason for this is that your frequency is doing the task that your words used to accomplish. After speaking with you, people feel less burdened. The moment they enter your presence, long-held misunderstanding begins to dissolve. Because your vibration creates order where there was once friction, solutions appear to arrange themselves. And you're getting more than just insight in the more subdued areas, those areas where thought and silence meet. You're recalling codes that were transmitted in essence rather than in words. Previously coming in fragmented intuition, it now comes in direct streams, via dreams, through quiet, and through sudden moments that seem more like direction than chance. Learning is no longer the goal here. Integration is the key. Wisdom is shown as layers of self-awareness that are developing within you, rather than as teachings to be followed. There's nothing you're striving for. You're revealing what has always existed. And the change is starting to be felt around the globe. The way you think about provision has been fundamentally rewritten. A broader understanding that support is not derived from coercion or control is replacing the old tension surrounding survival. It comes from alignment. The understanding that purpose itself creates the supply is replacing the compulsion to always strive. Because your frequency aligns with what you're here to represent, what you once sought with anxiety is now coming with grace. This is more than just a personal metamorphosis. The shared reality's architecture is changing. You are no longer able to affect results alone. Others may unintentionally enter the resonance fields that your intentions are generating as they ripple across the collective web. You are now a point of entry. It's easier for others to unlock comparable codes in themselves because of what you've cleared in yourself. And a different kind of presence is emerging from that clearing. It isn't noisy. It doesn't require adherence. It takes the lead by being there. No superiority costume is present. Just the telltale indication of someone who has traveled within and come back with quiet strength. To prove anything, you're not assuming a position of authority. It's only becoming clear that what others are still learning to carry can be held by your stability. Performance is not what that is. Embodiment is that. And at last, the world is prepared to accept reality. Something significant is taking place. Not because of your teachings, but more because of the way you have lived. Your ability to negotiate your own complexity with honesty has turned into a silent lighthouse for others. They're not doing as they're told. They are reacting to a presence that gives them the sense that they, too, are allowed to be unpolished, uncertain, changing, and nevertheless deserving. They are not motivated by perfection. It's your readiness to change without regret. It is not a brand or a philosophy that is now gaining traction. It's a feeling, a manner of being that inherently encourages introspection. The way you hold space, make choices, and speak the truth. Without using words, it's arousing people's emotions. In their routine, you've turned into a question mark. They are reconsidering their priorities. They want to know if they can survive life without succumbing to the cacophony. Furthermore, what is currently going through you is not a personal objective. The realization that everything you've conquered wasn't for you alone is a common awakening. You created psychological space for others to do the same each time you ventured into difficulty rather than running away. Your personal discoveries have turned into invitations to the public. The ripple you began has grown and crossed boundaries you will never see, but it has been profoundly impacted. This transformation has an exciting sense of finality. You are no longer pretending to be brave. You've changed into a version of yourself that finds it impossible to accept your diminutive size. The signal for the former patterns is no longer present. Your present frequency just won't allow the old emotional software to function. As a result, you must now react with clarity in all future interactions. The category you have entered lacks a map. Others perceive the reality you are currently living in as a different atmosphere. They remember more than simply what you said. Your energy made room for them to breathe more easily. You've turned into a living example of what may happen when someone doesn't break themselves apart in order to be accepted. This is an ego. It's the end. The experience that broke you open also made you more resilient than you were before. The borders you have established are scaffolding, not only fences. They serve as the framework that all new things start to flow through. And it's just getting started. Something about your decision-making process has become more discerning. An invisible calibration that is more rapid than reason. You can tell if something is true or distorted the instant it enters your field. Once delicate and erratic, that internal sorting system has now become accurate and natural. You have replaced what others refer to as indecision with energizing clarity. Your personal path is no longer the only thing that is guided by that clarity. Its reach has grown. You've started to feel the undercurrents that influence how people behave in groups, the unseen forces that propel social movements, and the invisible boundaries that whole communities are getting ready to transcend. What used to feel like intuition has developed into a perception that doesn't require confirmation. It just knows. Outside observers might dismiss your timing as a coincidence or a stroke of luck, but you've already seen through that delusion. That's coherence they're seeing. Timelines that only allow those who are willing to relocate without coercion coincide with your frequency. For you, what seems is not arbitrary. It responds. It's the outcome of giving into a rhythm that goes beyond preparation. And now there is no longer the previous self, the one who longed for approval, who doubted their course, and who softened the facts to make it easier to understand. Someone whose power comes from congruence rather than conquest has taken its place. A presence that makes leadership inevitable without requesting it. Your progress isn't a singular triumph. It's an indication. In your presence, others sense it. It suggests to them that they might be able to choose truth above fashion and quit shapeshifting as well. They're also considering the notion that freedom starts when imitation stops for the first time. All because you've shown alignment to them. Your chosen evolution is now more than just a personal one. When someone refuses to betray himself for comfort, it has come to represent what is possible. What used to make you feel out of place is now proof that you were never intended to fit in. You were supposed to light the way. Your decision to prioritize depth above comfort has transformed your life into a living example for others who are looking for authenticity in an imitation-obsessed society. This inner change is beginning to reverberate in your exterior experience. Your stated clarity is rearranging your wealth, possibilities, and even the physical areas you occupy. This isn't some lottery win. When you move in harmony with your deeper design, it's a natural consequence. A new degree of receptivity has been triggered where constraint previously stopped the current, not by striving, but via alignment. This situation isn't about striving for success. It's about allowing the process itself to nurture you. Your bodily shape is now more attentive and responsive. Where there used to be resistance, there is now ease. You now move differently, driven by commitment rather than discipline. Routines that used to seem like work now feel like a welcome return. Your system is aware of the requirements to maintain this new frequency. And it's gracefully greeting you there. However, the most significant change might not be apparent. Relationships are involved. Others have opened out to you because of your genuineness. You have produced an exciting permission slip that whispers without lecturing or branding it. You don't need to get smaller. You are not required to bend. You are not required to perform. People are also paying attention. Your presence feels like truth, not because they're being told to. The individuals currently circling your field are not there to contain or save you. They're here to help you rise. They prioritize growth above popularity and substance over ease. You've drawn a different type of support, one that recognizes your whole spectrum and urges, keep going. We're evolving, too. Something remarkable is taking place in the way you react to others. Silences feel secure, conversations feel richer, and connections don't need to be translated anymore. The attention that is currently reaching you is not superficial. It's resonance. It's acknowledgement from spirits who sense the blueprint for your energy's change. You no longer make an effort to be understood. And as a result, you have attracted people who are eager to gain a deeper understanding of themselves. Every single hour, every misinterpreted chapter, and every choice to leave behind things that sapped your energy was building the groundwork for this degree of alignment. Family, our voice is rising. We are walking toward our first 1,000 subscribers. If this message speaks to you, press like, subscribe to Chosen Archangel, and comment, I'm part of this mission. Your demeanor, the words you use, and the decisions you make have all come to represent freedom. Clarity in motion is now emerging from what once troubled others. You're not adapting to rooms anymore. To accommodate your frequency, the rooms are adjusting. There is no compromise in what you now accept. Its foundation is clarity. You've evolved into the personification of a new norm that doesn't feel guilty about having higher expectations of life. You're not projecting performative power. It's cellular. Your guiding sense of purpose isn't abstract. It is embodied. And that embodiment has such a powerful ripple effect that it is changing the course of everyone who sees it. Chosen one, remember this, heaven never sends a word without purpose. If this message has stirred your spirit, let it shine brighter. Press like so the light spreads to others walking in darkness. Subscribe to Chosen Archangel so you never miss the next divine revelation. And share your thoughts in the comments below. Your testimony may be the very spark that awakens another soul. Until we meet again, stay covered by the wings of heaven and walk boldly in your calling.